Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Flint for Real with Shayne Hodges. Today I have a special show. I have some people that are from Flint and are about Flint that would like to share some opinions and some thoughts on the current situation we are facing. I have Jasmine and Chaneta and Billy and Sam, and we're here today to talk about the things that are affecting our city and our people. And we want to get out some, we want to ask some questions and find out what's really going on. Some of the things that we are facing could easily be fixed, and we're still waiting. We're about 3 weeks into this crisis, and nothing's been done. Sure, we all get water, bottled water, but what happens when that runs out? What's going to be our city's future? Right now is a crucial turning point, I believe. We have national attention, and we have the world watching. So if we don't make these necessary small changes that each one of us could make, we're going to be in the same position, maybe worse when the circus leaves town. So, that's how I feel about the current situation and the way things are going. What are some of the things that, you would like to see happen, or some of the questions you have?
All right, so just to start off, I think we should each kind of, talk about how it's been affecting us, what is our connection to the water crisis.
I agree.
We can maybe start on that end, and I'll end
Okay.
it.
Well, I know with my situation, my sister, she has a 3-year-old. I don't think how old he is. She has a 3-year-old. He was tested for lead a year ago. Tested for a level 5, and her doctor did not tell her. She just got a letter from the state saying that he needs to be tested because being tested at a level 5 at 3 years old, that can do a lot to you, And there's families out here that, they may not have rides to go and get their kids tested. There's people that don't know what's going on in their home. They know that there's a situation with the water, but they may not know exactly how bad it is. Some kids, they shower in it and drink it or play in it, in the bathtub, and they break out from rashes. And then you got other kids that may be affected by it that don't see anything. You don't see anything coming from it. And I feel like these kids are our future. They're going to be here after we are, It's definitely a main issue that needs to be addressed.
That's one thing that they said, no level of lead is safe.
No level, none.
5 is way over the national action level, and and these are the things we're facing.
A year later, she just found out. A year later, it took her to find out that her son tested for a level 5.
Wow. And then are you from Flint?
I'm from Flint, born and raised. I'm in and out now. After the military, I've kind of been in and out, but I support Flint. I would love to be able to always call this home, and I don't want to see my city struggling through this.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm a Northwestern graduate. I don't have any kids right now, but I do help out with my sister, 3 kids. She currently got 1 on the way, but just last week we had to take all of them down there to get tested, and I'm not really too sure about my niece because she's been breaking out every day. Every day she get out the shower, she got a different rash on her, and when we go down to the hospital to get it tested or whatever, they telling us it's going to be a while before they can tell us if it's the lead or if it's wherever the rash is coming from, but it haven't started until it only comes up whenever she get out the shower, so I'm assuming it's got to be the lead in the water.
Yeah.
But obviously nothing's been done about it besides them dropping off water, and that's not helping her situation at all.
No.
So just at the moment, I have no clue what's going to happen, and we just need answers at this time.
And one of the things that they're not telling us, the lead was the alert. The lead issue was the alert to alert there's a problem. Now we've been going through this change from Flint River water back to Detroit water, and our water system's transitioning, and our house pipes and everything that was damaged. We're feeling the effects. And that's my thing. The water's bad now. There's something wrong now. There's bacteria because they raise the orthophosphate level. Orthophosphates make bacteria grow. Mm-hmm. They're trying to regrow the biofilm. In the meantime, that's what's making these rashes and all kinds of dandruff. And there's a lot of things that are not being reported. They're not being shown to the national media. They're just saying it's lead and that's it. Nothing to see here. And that's why it's very important for everyone with those symptoms to continue to see their doctors and continue to document it, because something's got to change. There is a big problem.
What about you? What's your connection to the water crisis?
Well, the way it's affecting me is like it's creating health problems. I have been treated for high blood pressure, like starting 4 years ago. And then since the water was been contaminated, I had been in the hospital at least 4 times, even with medications, and one while I was taking off medication completely. But since this crisis, I'm now on 2 prescription medications. It's also affecting my bones as well as my vision.
Yes.
And I know one thing about with like high blood pressure, hypertension. Like I study neuroscience, so I know that lead is related to it, and we don't even know what else is in the water, to be honest, because they lied the first time saying it was okay. So, and when I read the reports, I know it was a lot of E. coli, but I don't know what else is in this water. And so, I mean, first of all, you have the hypertension, but maybe something else is causing something else. So that's.
And one thing about lead in older people, that's where it stores in your bones.
Yes.
So that's where the effects are. Now, have they recommended anything like changing your diet, what foods to eat to help your bones, high in calcium, anything like that?
Yeah, calcium, iron-rich foods, magnesium.
Do they give you examples? Because when we look at Flint, I mean, not everyone knows, which food is going to have high levels of iron in it, which food is going to have high levels of calcium. So, I mean, there needs to be specifics. And honestly, like, people in Flint shouldn't even be having to buy this stuff. Like, this should be available because it's not anybody's fault in Flint. This is a wake-up call, but it's not the citizens of Flint's fault. And how long have you been in Flint?
I've been in Flint since 1964.
Wow, so you've seen it all.
I've seen it all. I've seen the good and the bad. Cause like salmon with the bones, canned salmon with the bones in it, that's good because you can, it's soft enough that you can chew that up, and that will definitely put that into your body real quick. As far as iron, regular stuff with iron is like the canned spinach. That's very good. They're saying like lima beans, the dried ones are better for you because that actually helps filter out some of the chemicals.
Okay. And someone just recently told me at Family Pharmacy on Fenton Road, they're giving all children in Flint, all families, a free vitamins for a year for all kids. So that may be something to look into because that can combat what's going on. Because what happens with lead and iron, the reason why you want iron in your body is because iron attaches itself to your blood and gravity helps it flow through your body. But when that lead takes the place of the iron, it just sinks. It doesn't move through your body and you don't get the blood to where you need it for development and things like that. And it brings up a great point about Flint. You guys all see that there's a church and a party store on every corner. There's no grocery stores. They all closed up shop. And most people are trapped, like this neighborhood, for example. You're trapped in a neighborhood. The only shopping outlet is a party store. And it's just not, we have no, remedy for this situation. We can't go get good priced produce and fresh fruit and fresh seafood because it's not available to us. So we're just trapped with whatever they give us. Hopefully it's enough. And I don't think it's gonna be. It's not now, and it's up to us to look for these changes and solutions, as well as everybody out there to be a part of what we can do to make this process happen. Otherwise nothing's gonna change. We're just gonna be sick. They're gonna take the land back and everybody dies.
And I think that's what I can only speak for what I know and from what I've heard, and honestly, I think that that's what they want to do to Flint. I feel like there's so much things being hid that need to be put out to the people, but there's a secret motive behind everything that's being done.
Yes.
I've been around a lot of government officials, and I'm not saying that they're all bad. I'm not saying that, they're all corrupted, but I've heard for probably about the past 4 to 5 years, even before our water crisis started, that, they just want to tear Flint down. They want to tear the houses down. They want this to be a community college. They want it to be a college town. They don't want citizens here unless you're attending school, you're living in a dorm. They want to kick citizens out of Flint, and I don't feel that that's right. I feel like if this is your home and this is where you live and where you want to continue to live, don't let the government push you out of your house because of this water situation. There's something that needs to be figured out. You can't just give people a few $1,000s and tell them to move when they have houses that are worth more than what you're giving them. These people own their houses. Like, you can't just say, oh, well, there's a problem and we're just going to fix it by tearing everybody's houses down and making everybody move. That's not the proper way to fix it. There's something else that's got to be done. And honestly, I think it's going to take the community to get up and stand together. It's not tearing people down that are trying to help us. You know, we got to think within ourselves, how can we fix this? We have to put our minds together and really come up with a situation, because obviously the government's not going to do it for us. You know, we have all these celebrities donating water and stuff like that, but they don't care for this city the way that people that live here do. They're not going to do the things that we need done. They don't know how to help us. And everybody coming together and pitching in ideas and trying to figure out how to make it work, we got to. That's the only way. We can't depend on other people to do it for us.
And so for people that do want to help, because I know there's a lot of people, like my network of college students, everyone is saying, you know, we're doing a water drive, and that's really nice and stuff, but what other ideas can people bring to the table for ways to help Flint?
You know, I really appreciate the water drives, and they really do help. You know, my sister, she has 3 kids, and, you know, her husband works, but she don't, you know, I mean, she needs a lot of help. They have 1 vehicle, you know, she can't get around. So, you know, the people coming around here and passing out waters to make sure that these families without rides, you know, or can't get them and their 3 kids, 4 kids on the bus and go get water and bring it back. You know, I really appreciate that. But at the same time, all these bottles of water being donated is only going to start another problem. Recycling. Where is all this plastic going to go? You know, just like we got the 5 semi-trucks coming in next weekend. That's a lot of plastic water bottles, you know, and all the water bottles that have already been donated. And the only way to fix this is to get the pipes fixed. You can't put people out of their homes. You have to figure out how to fix these pipes with them living there.
I feel like we should just, if we're doing all this donating, I feel like we should just donate enough money for we can just put all of the residents up in a hotel room while they start immediate construction on building us new pipes. I'm just saying, y'all donating all the money towards water bottles and
nobody's
all of this.
fixing the real
How
problem.
about y'all donate money towards the pipes? Let's just get the pipes fixed and move on with this problem. Get it out the way.
And I know there's you can't always look at the long term. There are short term things,
right?
But even you know, we right now with all the water that's being donated and the water that's on the way, I feel like we're good. We can buy maybe, you know, a few months, maybe a few weeks, or even maybe a month of time, and we can start maybe trying to get water dispensers in people's houses, because first of all, water bottles, that's inconvenient. Absolutely inconvenient to wash dishes, to wash yourself, and all these different things you have to do with water bottles. I mean, if we could get a water dispenser cooler, you know, 5-gallon things in everyone's house, that's running water on one level.
I'm about to say, and I also know this lady, she stay in Detroit, but she has a water filter built in at the base of her house. Like, if you can get a water filter for everybody's sink in Flint, why can't y'all just go and get the water filters for the base of the house?
But that's a good point. That would be really really effective. But we have to make sure that these are really, you know, able to handle as much pollution that's coming through our pipes. And then, but even before that, people aren't going to trust. I know I'm not drinking any water out there. No, I meant as a temporary solution while they start, because, you know, for them to fix all the Flint pipes is going to take a while.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen overnight. Up in front of their
so
house.
What I meant is, like, temporarily, like, you can put that on the hotel rooms while you put Flint residents into a hotel room while you fix their pipes, because nobody's going to stay in their house and with this water like that. And then you can't sell your house because it's illegal to sell your house with lead poisoning in it.
Right.
It's like y'all want us out of Flint, but we can't even leave because we can't sell our houses.
Who are you going to sell them to? Who's going to buy them?
You see the problem? That's an extra big problem.
People will buy them.
Oh yeah, they will buy it just to tear it down, but this is our home. We don't want our house torn down.
Buy them because when the pipes are fixed, they will have a house that's worth $50,000, $60,000,
or not even just rebuild our houses. If they buy your house right now, like you said, they want this to be a college city. So if they buy your house, they're not rebuilding it. They're going to tear it down and make that a campus, make another school there. They don't want us here. You said it yourself.
And you know, one of the other issues in this is 60% of the houses owned in Flint are owned by landlords. So 60% of the people are renters. Where are they going to go? Right. And that's the problem. And one of the things that I believe, that's just my opinion, is we weren't ever supposed to find out.
Right.
People were supposed to get sick. People were supposed to be forced out by, just think a retiree who has a fixed income, their bills are this much, they're just living, they work 30 years at GM, now they have their pensions. You raise their water rates. You raise their consumer bills. You raise
Shut
their
down the
taxes
schools.
so much. You take police protection away. Shut down the schools. That's just the incentive to get out of here. Get out now. And the people that have hung on, they're like, oh, well, we'll switch the water system, because they never would have switched water in any other community, jeopardize safe drinking water for an unknown source to save money anywhere. But here they thought, oh, well, you know, these people, we want them gone. It's called shrinking the city. If anybody's been paying attention to what's been happening in Flint, the former mayor had a comprehensive master plan where 5,000 people developed this new plan to rezone Flint and shrink the city. And that's called, they were gentrification. They were trying to take out certain areas. Like, for example, in the 3rd Ward, which is the northern end, there's no schools in the 3rd Ward whatsoever.
Wilkins closed, Bryan.
They're all done.
Yeah, it's just...
And for what? You know, you take away our education, you take away our economic development, any kind of chance for a future for our children. You know, and that's the thing. The literacy rate in the city of Flint itself, they say, is like a 3rd grade level. How is that possible in a city that is surrounded by 5 major universities? At Kettering University, it's $33,000 a semester.
Right.
And that's right there.
The city is not dumb by any means.
Exactly. But, you know, and that's what they portray as murder city. They try to give us a black eye, when really everyone you meet from the city they're amazing people. They're strong. They may have their own opinion and strong-willed, but they're still good people.
Yes.
And these are the people that I think, you know, need to stand up and come together and become a part of, like we said, city council meetings. Because I believe what happened was the community was asleep, trusting their elected officials to do the right thing. And they didn't. They only did the right thing by them. And that's the problem we're facing today. And that's why it's so good to have the young people of the city start becoming aware, because this is your city. Right. 10 years, 20 years from now, you guys will be the leaders, and what will be left for you to lead with, and the children growing up, what chances?
That's exactly it. 20 years from now, we still want to be in Flint.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. They don't want us here. That's why they're doing this. And I feel like they should just answer all these questions that we have. Like, how Rick Snyder's trying to hide all the paperwork,
right?
Saying that he didn't know that the water was contaminated.
Right.
Prove it.
And but that's the thing. The emails show that a year into, they started sending all state employees water coolers. Don't drink the water. Here's yours. But how did you not know it?
Why
but you didn't address the community.
And where did the money come from to send all these state officials all this, all this water? But you couldn't even alert us. You couldn't even alert people that were drinking this water still. So what do you guys think about the leadership? What should happen with the leadership? What should they do, or what should happen to them?
They should disband them. Either I'm just saying they should disband them. I don't feel like, because at the end of the day, everybody on the board, you feel me? You don't want to lose your position trying to tell on everybody else on your board.
You need to have integrity.
Yes, yes. At the end of the day, yes, but
and accountability.
But at the end of the day,
it doesn't matter if you don't want to lose your job. You should never have to deal with that.
Right.
If you there's things in place where if you tell on your employer, you will be okay, and you can find another job.
Yes.
You can't live with yourself knowing that you poison kids, that you let 10 people die. You shouldn't even be able to live with yourself like that.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's what I'm getting at. So if Rick Snyder, because supposedly he was the first one to see it on the paper, if he was the first one to see it and start distributing it out to everyone else, why is he still on the board? Why isn't he answering questions? Why haven't he resigned? Anything's happened to him yet? Nothing. He's just still.
So you think he should resign?
Honestly,
everybody else?
My opinion, I want him in jail, but I'm a Christian, so I wouldn't say anything like that.
Eating that error-marked food that the prisoners
right. Like, he don't drink this water. Why should we have? I'm a Flint resident. Right. I rent here. Like, I have my own house here. So for me to have to drink this water without knowing about it, right, I feel like it's real messed up. Like, my niece and nephews come over my house a lot. So for me to be home giving them this water all this time and I didn't know about it, it made me feel like I'm poisoning my niece and nephews. Right. When in reality, I had no clue about it, and that's what he's trying to say. He had no clue about it.
And we're trying to do the right thing by saying, here, drink water, stay hydrated. You don't need pop and soda. We don't want to ruin you. But really, that's like you said, with a level 5 lead level,
in a year to find out.
Right. In a year to find out, you're just what's really going on.
And another question that I've had for a while is, the whole reason for us switching to the Flint River was to save money. But my question is, why was Flint chosen to be the city to change water and not our surrounding cities? You got Burton, and if it was saving us money to come to Flint water, why not put them on our water and save more money?
Well, those aren't as poor cities as Flint. They're trying to get rid of Flint.
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to say by asking that question. Why Flint? Why is Flint dealing with this? And I attend Baker College. It's right on the outskirts of Flint. Like, it's right there on the border.
How did Flint get so poor in the first place?
How do they have good water up
People
there?
have been in charge for years. Too long. And I personally,
Corruption.
I feel like the leadership and outside of the new, since Karen Weaver has been there, she's awesome. But the people that have been there before, they're incredibly disconnected from the citizens, and they're incredibly incompetent.
Nobody's going to care about the city better than the citizens do.
Some of them don't even live in the city. They basically have sat on that board for years and years and years, knowing what the problem was and doing nothing about it, getting their pockets fat at the community's expense. They've got to have integrity and accountability. When you do things to people with lead that destroys every aspect of your body and can damage you,
your IQ level.
Your IQ level it diminishes.
Yep.
With the Legionnaires bacteria, we're breathing in that when we take showers and stuff. It's airborne. When you do things to harm people knowingly, you're nothing but a murderer.
Right, exactly.
And those that have helped him cover up, they are accomplices.
Yes.
Yep. And those are the people who should honestly be in jail or being reprimanded in some way. Because you have our jails full of people who do nothing legitimately wrong. The majority of citizens would think that many people in jail haven't done anything wrong, but these people who are very evidently killing people are not in jail. And I don't even it won't help me any if to see any of these people in jail. But what I want them to do is step up and fix it. You don't tell me that you're going to put some more chemicals through our pipes to make this situation go away. No, you dig up the pipes, and you dig up every single pipe that had that water running through it, because we don't need to look up in 20 years and have a whole new disease because people were being lazy and not competent and not caring enough to actually fix the real problem. So don't tell me about to throw another chemical through this pipe, because I'm not drinking that water and I'm not paying for it.
Or what happened to the anti-corrosive that should have been running through the water?
Why
was that taken out when we switched to the Flint River water? Why was the anti-corrosive taken out of our water when we switched to the Flint River?
And why do we still have to pay for this corroded water?
Right.
Like, why is y'all still taking our money to poison us?
As a renter, to get your water turned on, what did it used to be? $450.
Yeah.
And it
$450 deposit.
It didn't go towards your bill. It was never credited. You just had to give it up.
To them, yes.
Right. And think of all the money, like we said, 50-60% are renters.
Where's it going?
Think of all that money. Where did it go? I'll tell you where it went. That KWA pipeline. That's the hustle. This city should have never undertook that project. We could have stayed with Detroit Water, because Detroit did not want to let us go. We used to buy the water and sell it to everybody else. Now we're just a customer. And things went very wrong. And like you said, the leaders sitting on the city council, the former mayor,
incompetent.
All these county clerks, they're all the same people. They move around from city council to county clerk to state rep. They just keep passing it around. For example, Dan Kildee, he got the office from his Uncle Dale, and they're going to pass it on to someone else. And these are our leaders. They're just us in fancy clothes, because they're supposed to be one to represent all. And they don't represent none of us. They represent themselves, special interests, lobbyists, all the people that pay. We're just the unfortunate citizens. But when it's election time, they love us. They feel our problems. They kiss the babies, but as soon as it's over, they're gone.
That's the last you hear about them until they mess up.
Right.
Mess up something else.
And they've been messing up. Like, honestly, I've been alive for almost 22 years this coming week, and literally, I have never. Flint has just been going downhill, and I always hear older people talking about how wonderful Flint used to be.
Right.
So let's get back to that. Let's go that way. Let's go in that direction, because honestly, the people who are driving us into the ground, they can go, they can leave. Like, honestly, they're not needed. We don't need anybody else to continue to poison us, to continue to kill us, to continue to make jobs leave. Like, if you're not thinking about how to make
break the law and still be out.
Right.
When,
Right.
For real.
Yeah.
Just basically what you just said. Just break the law.
Right. And
Multiple
still be
times.
free and making millions of dollars.
Right. Getting paid to break the law.
Right.
So how can Flint like grow from this? What do you guys see happening? What do you guys hope to happen?
The only way Flint is gonna grow is if they fix the pipes,
And get rid of them.
get rid of them, and then once they fix, because what's the point of leaving those pipes? And we've got the worst streets. No businesses are gonna come here where they know it's lead and corrosion, and they can't get around. It makes sense to dig them up, do the job right, fix the streets, problem solved. New businesses can flourish.
Right, and problem almost solved. But
I got a question. I read something about President Obama passing something for $80 million.
Yeah.
Where is
the
that
money?
gonna go to? What is that going to do?
because if it's not going towards pipes, it need to be going towards rebuilding this community. And that's like, I'll answer my question. I don't want Flint to be known as, number 4 or always in the top 5
Murder
for
city.
Murder City. I don't want it to be known for people being completely poor, completely uneducated. No, Flint
you
needs
got
to be
people
known
like us sitting right here at this table,
graduating in May. Woo-hoo. But like seriously.
Right.
And I celebrate that every day because if only y'all knew. But honestly, like I want Flint to be known as a place where something terrible did happen, and it's been leading up to this for the past at least 22 years. So Flint can grow from this. We can come together as a community. There's so many people that want to help us over, in Texas, in Rhode Island, in Europe, in Singapore. Like people want to help us, and we can honestly be the model for America. We can totally turn this around. We can flip it upside down. And honestly, it starts with us. It starts with our conversations. It starts with our ideas. It starts with us letting people know how to help. And to be completely honest, like, man, we have a lot of work to do. And I feel like since we have a problem with, needing these pipes to get fixed, why not hire people that are unemployed in Flint, or people who, if y'all let them go out of jail to pass out water, have them, help to rebuild the pipes. Give them the opportunity. Because if they sitting in jail, all they're gonna do is die. They just getting closer to death.
Train our people.
Yes, and that's stimulating the economy.
Because there's some things that people don't, maybe you might remember, but Flint we started community busing, started here.
Absolutely.
Fair housing started here. The union and organized labor started here. So we have started so many firsts in America. We have been the pioneers in this. And I feel like this can be a situation where we can step up, train our kids, train our people to watch the water, train our people to understand infrastructure and what needs to be done and how to take care of your people in your city. We need to have things in place to keep college graduates, because after you graduate Kettering, stay here, or U of M, stay here.
But you have to have a place to go. You have to have, in order to stay here, you have to have something here that you can flourish from. There's no point in going to school, getting a degree, and then what are you going to do? Work at one of the supermarkets? Our malls are shutting down. We don't have stores in our malls. Everybody's getting up and leaving because there's...
Right.
Oh, yeah,
they're demolishing everything. Everything that we have had is leaving Flint, and you can't stay here with a college education, even though as bad as you want to, you can't because there's not the jobs, there's not the money, there's so many things that are lacking here. Even me, I'm 22 years old, and I grew up here on the east side of Flint. And when I remember growing up younger, oh my gosh, it was so beautiful here. My mom, we were always out doing community gardens. I remember my mom would have me and my brother and my 2 sisters walking around the city, around the east side with garbage bags, just picking up garbage, just doing our part to keep our community up. And we ended up getting ran out of the east side, and you just got to be able to stand up for what you believe in and stand up for what you love, and you have to take a part in it. Like a lot of people, they want to see a change, but they don't want to stand up and help make it. And the only way to make that change is for everybody to stand up that wants a difference. You have to stand up and stand together and make that difference. And you can't do it with just a handful of people.
The change you want to see.
You can't do it with just a handful of people when you're trying to help out a whole community.
Just
the whole
like
community has to.
Voting, for example, people think, I'm just one vote. What does it matter? But 50,000 people feeling the same way means that's 50,000 votes that don't get counted. And they want you to believe that.
If you don't vote, you basically don't have a voice. Our words count for something.
And here's an example in the mayoral election where Weaver won. 67,000 people in the city of Flint were registered to vote. Only 12,000 people voted. Simple as that. Like there's 50,000 people that were left unheard.
And there's so many amazing people in this community.
Right.
I myself am a veteran. You know, there's all kinds of veterans. There's all kinds of educated people going to college. There's everybody here is doing something. Growing up here in Flint, I can say it either gives you the drive to get what you want or it makes you sit back and just settle for what you have. You know, there's so many people that have taken up that drive and they're like, man, I see what this is going to, you know, I want better for myself. And there's so many people out there that are so much better than what they portray Flint as, you know.
Right.
Yeah, there's bad things that happen here, but there's bad things that happen out in Montrose or, you know, in other surrounding cities, you know, but you don't see that.
Right.
They flash bad things about Flint because that's what they want people to view us as, and that's not what we are. Flint is an amazing community. Flint has some of the best people I've ever met, and it's just time for those people to stand up and show what Flint really is.
Yeah, because people, they go get educated and they're like, oh, you know, I see how terrible people have been leading Flint. Flint is going into the ground. I'm about to jump ship. And nobody comes back to nobody reaches back to help. And one other thing that doesn't happen in Flint, people are not being educated. Education and business, those are the things that are going to revive Flint. Yeah. Not giving people a loan to fix the house that y'all messed up. What?
Right.
And to have to pay it back.
Or giving somebody a few thousand to move away from Flint. That doesn't make sense. Give them a few $1,000s to stay in Flint. Maybe start a small business so they can stimulate this economy. Don't give them a reason to leave. Give them every reason to stay. You know what I'm saying?
One of my best friends, her grandparent, he lives over here on the east side of Flint. His pipes are so bad that when you open his cabinets underneath his sink, you can see the black coming out of his pipes. You know what they did to him? They sent him a letter in the mail saying that he owes this much for being responsible for the pipes in front of his house and are adding a bill onto his bill. And making him pay for it. I mean, they're only adding insane. Like $5 a month onto his bill, but it comes down to like $5,000 or $6,000 that he's going to end up paying in the long run. Why is he paying for that? Right. Why is that his responsibility?
Exactly, and I just feel like it's taken too long to even get a plan to say we're going to start on this day. Right. We're going to start. This is the people that we're training right now. They should be training people right now to start. Once this weather breaks, once this snow is going, people need to be underground and fixing these pipes. They can enlist volunteers. They can train people from Flint. I will volunteer. I'll put on a hard hat.
My brother-in-law, he's an actual plumber. That's his job. He has his master's degree and he's actually in school right now for his PhD. But that's what he wants to do. He actually said he would actually volunteer to help and fix pipes.
And there's hundreds
like he will volunteer for it.
They will volunteer to help rebuild Flint. Right. We don't even that's an expense.
But it's against the law to actually go down there without the permission from
and the permits and all the things that have to come.
So he can't even fix his own. He can't even. He's not even allowed to fix his own house because of the law.
And then they're in legislature making all these little decisions. This should be top priority. I'm sorry, but if you have a college education, and even if you don't, you should realize if you took a psychology class, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, water, food, safety, very bottom. They're messing up all three of those things.
Right. Like, very essential things to life. You're right. You're absolutely
basic physiological needs. Like,
and have nothing to say about it though. That's just the big thing.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
I had nothing to know. I had nothing to know about. I didn't know about it.
Right.
And the thing is, even if by some miracle the governor didn't know about what was about the diseases and stuff, now that you do know, stop playing around and fix this stuff. And I don't care if it's not directly your fault, because the person that you appointed as the emergency manager, he made this decision, and then Dane Walling switched the switch. So come on, these are the people you appointed. Hold on one second. These are people you appointed, and these are the people that you're responsible for as the person who appointed them. So please don't say that this not your fault. Like, what? Fix it.
And even when you did find out it was your fault, why try to hide it? Why are you hiding it?
Right, because after the State of the Union address, when he said he was sorry and he's going to help and he's going to do that, next morning he hired 2 PR firms and a team of lawyers to go get him up out of the mess. So wait a minute, it doesn't make sense.
Because he's trying to hide it.
Right, because he's trying to get out of it, cut it loose, play it through the laws. And you brought up a good point, the legislative process. That's where our votes count. We have to put the right people in those positions to make the choices for us, not for them. They have to introduce the bills that are going to make changes, and they have to stick with them and gain support. And then if they see that you're not supporting these things, you won't be here next year. That $100,000 a year for the state reps and all that gone, you won't have that job next time.
Right.
And that's when they'll start paying attention. Like, if I don't do what my constituents say, I'm gone. So I have to work hard for
There's
them.
got to be accountability
That's what
and
that's what's
responsibility
missing.
put into
And there
place.
needs to be community
Check up.
like
Something.
well, yeah,
Term limits.
conversations to let people know, because people, I mean, you can be registered to vote all you want, but like you were saying, people don't vote because they don't even understand the power of their vote. There needs to be more people saying, this is what your vote means. Do you understand that if you that your vote, that you did not vote in the last election, that means that you voted for the opposite person? That's exactly what that is.
It's called voter suppression.
Exactly.
They count on you not coming. They got their same people ready.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, some of the things that come to my mind when I think about voting is civil rights and things, how hard women and minorities had to fight just to get that right. That
And now
you
people
have
take
to
advantage of it and
exercise.
don't go.
And don't pay attention. And you know, you see these when they're questioning young people, like, who's the vice president? They don't even know.
You know,
Come on.
and there's honestly, I feel like there's no excuse to not voting. I voted while I was on deployment overseas. You know what I'm saying? So you're sitting here in the community, and these people are walking around, knocking on your doors, passing out flyers.
All you gotta do is go
But
to
you're
your
not
local
involved in
church.
politics.
You
Right.
need to. There's no excuse. It's all laziness. And Flint is not going to get better until the laziness goes away and those strong people that want to see better do better.
Exactly.
And that's simply it.
Leave.
So with that, guys, you know, let's do a few closing statements and wrap it up. And we got to try to keep it
All right.
short so we can, you know, people don't get tired of listening to us halfway through.
Yeah. I just to close, I mean, Fly City, this is home. It'll get better. We will make it better. Let me rephrase that. So that's all I have to say.
Oh, about the Facebook pages, if we tell them our names, that we're all on Facebook.
Okay. Yep. You can find us on Shayne Hodges. You can find me on Facebook.
Jasmine Marie Hall.
Chaneta Garrett, the Chaneta.
Chaneta
I mean,
Garrett.
Chaneta Hall.
Billy Smith. Everybody already know me.
And Samantha Crossnoe.
Okay. Find us on Facebook. Become a part of this. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.